Today, we're going to talk about a community whose story is literally cut short by the lines we draw on a map. I'm talking about the Wa people, and let me tell you, their world is way bigger than most people realize.
All right, so let's just jump right in. Simple question to start us off. Where do the Wa people live? Go on, take a second to think about it.
So, if you were thinking somewhere around the border of Myanmar and China, you're not wrong, but you're also not totally right. That's kind of the standard textbook answer, right? It's their political and historical home base. But trust me, that is not the full story.
Okay, so let's start there with what most people know. Let's look at that core territory that, for most of the world, is the Wam people. And when we talk about their core regions, we can get pretty specific. Over in Myanmar, you've got this autonomous area called Wa Special Region 2. Then you hop right over the border into China's Yunnan province, and you've got counties like Ximeng and Kawn Wa. This whole area, this is absolutely their historical and political center of gravity, no question about it.
But, and this is the big but, is that it? Is this one tightly packed area the entire story of the Wa people today? Oh, no, not even close.
It's time to zoom out. We need to expand our map because there's this huge piece of the puzzle that's missing. And that piece, well, it's in a whole other country. It's in Thailand.
Yup, you heard that right. There is a large, vibrant Wa community living in northern Thailand. And look, we're not talking about just a few families here and there. This is a significant diaspora, and once you know about it, it fundamentally changes how you have to think about the Wa world.
So the big question is, how did this happen? And this wasn't some ancient migration from a history book. This is actually a pretty modern story, a movement that really took off in the 20th and 21st centuries, driven by some really powerful contemporary forces. It really boils down to three main drivers. First, there was the economic pull. People looking for wage labor in Thailand, in farming, construction, that kind of thing. Second, there was a lot of conflict and instability back in their home regions in Myanmar, so people had to get out. And third, and this is a big one, you had family and village networks that had already made the journey, creating a path for others to follow.
Now, when a community moves like this, it doesn't just change their location on a map. It profoundly changes the community itself. And one of the first and most immediate places you see that change, it's in their language.
To really get what's going on, we need to understand this key concept, intergenerational language shift. It sounds a little academic, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's just what happens when, over a few generations, the kids and grandkids in a community start speaking the new dominant language, in this case Thai, more than their ancestral language. And with the Wa in Thailand, you can see this classic three-generation pattern playing out perfectly. So you have the first generation, the grandparents. They often only speak Wa. Their kids, the parents, well, they become bilingual. They need Wa to talk to their family, but they need Thai for work and daily life. But then you get to the third generation, the grandkids, and they're mostly speaking Thai. They're learning it in school, they see it in the media, and it just becomes their main language. So here's the crucial takeaway from all this. This pattern of assimilation, it puts the Wa language in the Thai diaspora at serious risk of being lost. It's a story about survival for sure, but it's also a story of potential loss. As the language adapts, it also transforms. The Wa that's spoken in Thailand is starting to borrow words from Thai, especially for modern things like technology or administration. Even its sounds and the way sentences are built can begin to shift. And this is exactly why documenting this unique diaspora version of Wa is so urgent, before it changes even more or disappears entirely. Okay, so we've expanded the map. We've seen the linguistic impact. But why does this revised story truly matter? What's the real takeaway here? Well, the contrast is just stark. Back in the core homeland of Myanmar and China, the Wa language is robust, it's vital. But in the Thai diaspora, that same language is under immense pressure and is potentially endangered. We're looking at the same language facing two completely different futures. And this leads us to a much more accurate way of seeing the Wa people. They aren't just defined by one or two countries. Instead, they form what you could call a transnational continuum, a fancy term that just means they're a single community that flows right across the political borders of Myanmar, China, and Thailand. And that really is the heart of it. The story of the Wa reminds us that people are not static figures inside neat political boxes. They are dynamic nations, often living and moving across the very borders that we think define them. So we'll leave you with this thought to chew on. The Wakas are not alone in this. How many other communities around the world have parts of their stories hidden from us, simply because we stop looking at the border? What else might we discover if we just look beyond the lines on the map?